Here are your spoilers for The Young and the Restless episodes airing Monday, December 29th, 2025 to Friday, January 2nd, 2026. Nick calls Matt Clark's bluff. Phyllis gives Jack an unexpected gift. Noah worries about Sienna's safety. Tuesday, December 30th. Victor rewards Michael's loyalty. Nikki shares a secret with Jack. Claire stands by her actions. Kane makes a bold move to impress Lily Adam, and Sally discuss their complicated past. Tessa explores her feelings for Daniel. Thursday, January 1st. Airing of classic episode from September 10th, 1998. Jill interrupts Catherine Chancellor's party with a shocking announcement. Friday, January 2nd. Victor and Nick plot against Matt Clark. Daniel makes a promise to Tessa. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching. So let's dive into today's video. The Young and the Restless, recap for Monday, December 29th, reveals that Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall, will ask himself the million-dollar question while Noah Newman panics over Nick Newman's news. At the cottage, Sharon Newman will refuse to let Noah leave to go look for Sienna Bacall himself. Instead, Sharon will quiz Noah about his breakup with Allie and Nguyen and hear about his love for Sienna. While Noah worries about his dad's meeting, Matt will join Nick at the park overlook and taunt him about his return from the grave. Nick will eventually get down to business and insist he's offering $1 million for the safe return of Sienna. Matt will act like that number should be more and will suggest it'd come with a lot more zeros if he'd taken Noah. Nevertheless, Nick will push Matt to take the money and stay out of their lives forever. Matt will end up threatening to hurl himself into the nearby ravine so that Nick will get blamed for it. Nick will invite Matt to go ahead and will suggest he's willing to take his chances with the cops. Nick will even offer to help Matt along, but Matt will admit he's not serious and decide to take Nick's deal. However, Matt will make it clear that Nick has to do things his way. Matt will plan to get out of the country and have Nick send the money to an offshore account before he reveals where Sienna is. Afterward, Nick will head back to Sharon's place with updates, so Noah will flip out and assume Matt won't deliver Sienna as promised. Noah will argue that they can't let Matt get away, so Nick will agree. That said, Nick will warn Noah that they have to let this play out. At a motel, Annie Stewart will watch over Sienna, who'll be passed out on the bed nearby. Matt will return and fill Annie in on the details of his deal with Nick. Although Matt will admit he's decided to take the Newmans' money, he won't know if he's actually going to give Sienna back. Matt will also mull over the million-dollar question of whether he'll let Noah live or not. At Crimson Lights, Billy Abbott will tell Phyllis Summers that the offer he made is on the back burner, so she'll complain. Billy will blame Jack Abbott for pumping the brakes, but he'll acknowledge that Phyllis is a loose cannon who's burned too many people. Although Billy will push Phyllis to be honest about her agreement with Victor Newman and what he promised her, she'll keep playing innocent. As for the deal Phyllis now wants to make with the Abbotts, she'll insist it's about keeping Summer Newman out of the Newman-Abbott crossfire. Phyllis will admit she owes Summer far more than Marchetti after all her mistakes, so Billy will push her to convince Jack to get on board. Phyllis will head to the Abbott mansion, where she'll urge Jack to strike the Marchetti deal and let her steal back the AI program from Victor. Jack will continue to drag his feet on the idea, so Phyllis will ultimately leave. Next on Monday's Y&R episode, Billy will meet up with Jack and admit he still thinks Phyllis is a better option than Michael Baldwin or Nikki Newman. In the end, Billy will think they should implement all three plans and see which one wins. The Young and the Restless spoilers say the Abbotts will keep doing whatever they can to stand against Victor, so stay tuned. On The Young and the Restless, Adam Newman has spent years auditioning for the role of the reformed rogue. But do we believe this hollow performance? No, and here's why. He's got the dialogue down pat, the somber reflections on his past sins, the declarations of devotion to Chelsea, and the insistence that he's finally prioritizing his son's stability over his father's approval. But as we saw in the December 26 recap, the ink on Adam's redemption tour is looking awfully smudgeable. Let's be real, Adam loves the idea of being a changed man. It's a grand narrative to sell to Chelsea, who desperately wants to believe she isn't sleeping with the same man who once gaslit her into oblivion. However, the holiday season in Genoa City has exposed a glaring contradiction. While Adam tells anyone who will listen that he's evolved, his actions suggest he's still the first person to fetch Victor's slippers, or in this case, his dirty laundry. The recent AI-driven smear campaign against Jabot is the smoking gun on the young and the restless. Victor barked an order to dismantle Jack Abbott's legacy using questionable tech, and Adam didn't just follow suit. He led the charge. Despite his hesitation, he still pressed the button. This isn't the behavior of a man who has found his moral compass. It's the behavior of a son who is still addicted to the good boy head pat from the mustache. Chelsea's ultimatum on the 26th was the reality check the audience has been screaming for. She sees what Adam refuses to admit. You can't claim to be new and improved while you're busy sabotaging families on your father's behalf. Adam's defense, that he's doing it for the security of his family, is the same tired excuse Victor has used for 40 years. Is he a changed man? Hardly. A truly changed man would have the backbone to walk away from Newman Media the moment Victor demanded he play dirty. Instead, Adam stays, prodding Billy and executing vendettas, all while wearing a mask of unwilling compliance. He isn't a victim of Victor's manipulation anymore. He's a willing participant who uses the changed man label as a shield against accountability. Until Adam can say no to Victor without first checking whether a reward is attached, he isn't redeemed. He's just a lapdog with a better vocabulary. Genoa City shouldn't hold its breath for a miracle. The only thing young and restless about Adam these days is how quickly he runs to do his father's bidding. The Young and the Restless preview video for the week of December 29th, January 2nd reveals that Kane Ashby will extend a New Year's Eve offer while Holden Novak seeks a date as well. Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall, and Nick Newman also have a meeting coming up, so here's what fans can expect. Y&R's weekly promo kicks off with Holden pitching the idea of a real date with Clare Newman. It's clear that Holden will be holding out hope for a deeper romance between them. When Holden hints about ringing in the new year together, Clare will suggest that can be arranged under one condition. Since this conversation will have a playful vibe, Clare's condition may end up being something silly rather than something serious. Meanwhile, Kane will try to lock in a date night of his own. During a discussion with Lily Winters, Kane will suggest he's just going to spend New Year's Eve alone unless she's willing to join him. Kane will tell Lily that there's no one else he'd rather be with, but she'll look unsettled and may admit she saw him kissing Phyllis Summers again. Lily might ask if Kane is just going to go running back to Phyllis as if she turns him down. In the park, Matt will meet up with Nick for a meeting. Nick will admit he was wondering if Matt would have the guts to show up. "Oh, I wouldn't miss this little party for all the world," Matt exclaims in Y&R's weekly preview video. From there, Nick will spell out the details of the deal he's proposing. Although Nick will make a tempting offer, Matt may assume it's a trap and proceed with caution. If Matt doesn't fully approve of the terms, he may reject the offer and insist on doing things his way. Nick and Matt obviously can't trust each other, so they'll both be wary as they discuss what's next. Matt may insist he's willing to end Sienna Bacall's life if he doesn't get everything he wants. Since Matt had Annie Stewart take Sienna hostage, he may insist he's willing to wipe Noah Newman's new girlfriend off the map. However, Nick may doubt that Matt will actually harm Sienna and risk losing that leverage. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Matt and Nick will have a lot to discuss, so stay tuned for updates on any bad news that's brewing. The Young and the Restless spoilers hint that Ian Ward's next haunting horror show may push Mariah Copeland over the edge. Mariah hasn't been in a good place mentally for quite some time, but things may get even worse soon enough. Y&R fans can expect Ian to mess with Mariah's head again on via Friday, January 2nd. Mariah has been receiving treatment at a facility in Boston, but she clearly hasn't made much progress if she's still hallucinating Ian visits. Of course, this version of Ian isn't real, but that won't matter when it comes to Mariah's state of mind. Ian's next haunting may push Mariah too far and leave her feeling like she has to get out of there. Mariah might go running back to Genoa City as a result, especially if she decides she'd rather turn to Sharon Newman for therapy. There's a chance Mariah's current facility is making her worse instead of better, so that's worth keeping in mind. Mariah may still be in a fragile state when she returns to GC, where she'll no doubt find that Tessa Porter and Daniel Romalotti Jr. have gotten much closer. That's something else that could contribute to Mariah's mental downward spiral, since she's on the verge of making some wild moves. It's easy to imagine Mariah spotting Tessa making out with Daniel, or even tracking her down in a suite with him. If all the Ian hauntings weren't enough to shove Mariah off the deep end, then knowing Daniel and Tessa are a thing now could certainly do the trick. Based on some spoiler hints and behind-the-scenes clues, it looks like Mariah may totally lose it and kidnap Dominic Newman-Abbott Winter's chancellor. Since Mariah gave birth to Dominic as part of the surrogacy story, Y&R may revisit her bond with Bowie for the next chapter of her mental health crisis. The Young and the Restless spoilers say another Ian haunting will set plenty of Mariah trouble in motion. Genoa City's New Year has Holden making a move, while Nick is involved in a heated and possibly dangerous confrontation. The New Year will bring plenty of romance, drama, and danger on The Young and the Restless. This week's video hints that one couple is inching closer to a reunion, while another character faces a threat. Here's a sneak peek at what's ahead for December 29th to January 2nd. Although Clare put the brakes on her and Holden's budding romance, Mr. Novak isn't giving up. With New Year's around the corner, he feels it's the right time to try again with Clare. This week, he coyly asks Clare on a date to ring in the new year together. An intrigued Clare says that can be arranged, but on one condition. Knowing Clare, it's impossible to tell what her condition is. Perhaps it's a way to score more info on Audra, or perhaps it's something simpler, such as Clare buying drinks or picking their hangout spot. Whatever it is, the date could be a turning point in Holden's relationship. Maybe 2026 will be the year Clare and Holden finally become a couple. While loved ones gather to spend New Year's Eve together, Kane will be alone. However, the businessman might not be lonely for long. When Lily bumps into her ex-husband, talk turns to their New Year's plans. Kane takes the opportunity to ask Lily to spend the holiday with him. Naturally, Lily is unsure of the idea, considering Kane's on-again, off-again relationship with Phyllis. When Lily broaches the topic of Phyllis, Kane makes it clear that he doesn't want the redhead. The only person he wants to spend New Year's with is Lily, and if that's not possible, he'll just be alone. Chances are Lily will take Kane up on his offer, and the two will enjoy a relaxing and possibly romantic evening together. Although 2025 was rough on Lane, the new year could bring them the fresh start they need. Matt's latest reign of terror has gone too far. Between attacking Noah and kidnapping Sienna, Matt has pushed Nick to the limit. Nick will do anything to protect his family, and this week he'll prove why he's Genoa City's favorite hero. Nick agrees to a deal with Matt in exchange for Sienna's release. The two men meet in the park and immediately start trading barbs. Nick says he wondered if Matt had the guts to show up, and Matt replies he wouldn't miss this for the world. After trading barbs, it's time to get down to business. While Matt thinks he has the upper hand, Nick is bound to have a trick or two up his sleeve. But things could turn dangerous if Matt suspects he's being double-crossed. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, December 29th, suggest some major bombshells ahead in Genoa City. Two nemesis face a standoff, while a character has major concerns, and there's an unexpected shocker. What's on the horizon for Monday? Time to find out. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, December 29th, hint that Nick Newman and Matt Clark will have a standoff. Nick knows that Matt has Sienna Bacall. However, he also suspects that Sienna may be a part of the reason why Noah Newman was knocked out. Nick wants to help Noah find his girlfriend, but also wants to out both her and get the best of Matt. Will Nick be able to pull this all off when he and Matt have this confrontation? Y&R fans will have to tune in to find out. Meanwhile, Noah will be very worried about Sienna. Now that he knows how dangerous Matt is, he'll worry about his gal pal's safety, but he really should be more concerned about his own. Sienna seems sketchy, but at the same time, it did look like she genuinely cared for Noah. So will fans find out why she did what she did? Across town, The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday Jack Abbott will get an unexpected gift from none other than Phyllis Summers, as Jack, along with Billy Abbott and the rest of the family, is hoping that Phyllis will join their scheme against Victor Newman and steal back Kane Ashby's AI software and hand it back to the Abbotts. Will she do this during the December 29th episode? Phyllis has a lot at stake, as she also wants to ensure Marchetti is saved, for Summer Newman's sake. What storyline are you most looking forward to during Monday's show? Comment below! The Young and the Restless, spoilers for Friday, December 26th, indicate that Sally Spectra will come through when Djibouti needs it. Lauren Fenmore will push Michael Baldwin to do what is right instead of following Victor Newman's orders. Chelsea Lawson will give Adam Newman an ultimatum. Adam and Chelsea may work for Victor, but that does not mean that Chelsea likes what they are doing. Chelsea is completely horrified to learn that the media can be manipulated to completely destroy a company and a man with nothing but words. Chelsea surely does not agree with what they have done to Jack Abbott. Chelsea may not have always been an upstanding citizen. However, now that she has turned over a new leaf and she wants to be a good example for her son, Chelsea just cannot see causing stress to another person for no reason. Chelsea needs Adam to just stop doing Victor's dirty work, or else, but can Adam do that? Michael has been there for Victor through thick and thin. Finally, Lauren had gotten her way, and Michael retired. Lauren was thrilled that her husband was finally not working for Victor again, and they could have a normal life. At least, this was the life Lauren thought she was going to have once Michael retired. Victor could not believe that Michael had abandoned him and refused to speak to the poor man for weeks. Victor wanted nothing to do with him. After Victor forgave Michael, he got right back into the middle of Victor's vendetta against Jack Abbott. Lauren, along with most of us, have no idea why Victor is doing this, but fans are with Lauren and want it to stop once and for all. Jack and Billy Abbott are doing their best to hold Victor off as he plans to use the AI program on Djibouti. Jack and Billy have literally shut down Djibouti to keep it safe. However, Victor has now attacked them in the media, and that may be even worse now that they have mentioned the shutdown, and Jack is having to explain that. However, Sally will be the one that comes through with some information. Jack and Billy have big plans. Sally will show them how to make an end run around Victor and start the New Year's off right. How is Victor going to deal with this situation? Is Djibouti finally back on top and out of Victor's reach? Where will this battle go from here? The Young and the Restless spoilers reveal that it's that day after Christmas, and Billy Abbott is already being put to the test. Sally Spectra will share some intel with Jack Abbott and Billy. Michael Baldwin needs Lauren Fenmore's advice. Chelsea Lawson gives Adam Newman an ultimatum. Sally will share some valuable intel that could have something to do with the AI program and what is going on with Victor Newman. Now that Nikki Newman has told Victor how she feels about his actions, will he back off and move away from Djibouti and Jack once and for all? Has Nikki unscrooged the Scrooge? Perhaps publicity and everything else with Djibouti are looking up since they have gone back online. It seems that Jack will once again put Billy's loyalty to the test. So what does Jack wants from Billy this time? How are things looking for Abbott Communications after the launch party that finally managed to get thrown after the last cancellation? Michael has put himself right in the middle of mess between Victor and Jack. Diane Jenkins Abbott has asked Michael to try to convince Victor to back off of Jack and Djibouti. Diane wants Victor to get rid of the AI program and stop this decades-long feud between their families. Can the families turn over a new leaf this year? Michael knows that he is taking a chance going against Victor again. However, Michael doesn't want to let Diane down either. Can Michael reason with Victor? Or will Nikki have already talked Victor into changing his mind with her ultimatum? Who will Lauren advise Michael to side with in this impossible situation? Chelsea and Adam have been back together for a long time and have given their son a home on the Newman Ranch. However, Chelsea and Adam are constantly at odds over Victor's orders. Chelsea just witnessed Adam attacking Jack, who happens to be a good friend on Victor's order. And Jack called him out on it. Chelsea is not going to continue to be a part of this vendetta. And Adam needs to make a choice. Chelsea has asked Adam to stop going after Billy, and she doesn't want him going after Jack anymore either. Chelsea will insist on Adam deciding between doing Victor's dirty work or being with her. What will Adam's ultimate decision be when it is all said and done? Nick and Noah play hero. The young and restless spoilers for Monday, December 29th allow Phyllis to make up her mind about which side of the Newman-Abbott feud she's on. This week, Billy asked Phyllis to help him and Jack retrieve the computer program that Phyllis had stolen from Cain and given to Victor in the first place. Phyllis's new plan is to align herself with Cain so that they can defeat Victor, and Phyllis will regain her status as a mogul. And being against Victor means being pro-Jack, until Phyllis just shifts. But for now, Jack will be blessed by Phyllis's loyalty and her hacking skills. More. Will Phyllis end up sabotaging Summer? Much to Sharon and Nick's dismay, Noah insists he's in love with Sienna, that Sienna is in love with him, and that she's not in cahoots with Matt. Sienna is in trouble, and she's waiting for her hero, Noah, to rescue her. So it seems that Noah is a romantic like his dad, and he seems to be just as bad at relationships. And speaking of Nick, he won't give up on bringing down Matt, no matter what Sharon says. Like Victor, Nick always knows best, and anyone who disagrees just doesn't love his family as much as Nick does. And that includes Sharon. Sharon would like to keep Nick and Noah safe, but they're going off on their own. Nick calls Matt's bluff and walks straight into a trap? If he does, he'll still explain how his plan was right. It's just Matt refused to play along. Victor needs to make peace with Jack and the Abbott family, not just for Christmas, but for good. Victor and Nikki learn about the true meaning of Christmas on The Young and the Restless. Of course, it won't last for long. Victor needs another reminder as to why he should drop his long-running feud with Jack Abbott. The true meaning of Christmas is about family, hope, charity, and goodwill. One person who needs this reminder is Victor, who won't drop his feud with Jack. On the December 24th episode, Victor and Nikki were reminded of the spirit of Christmas. Elsewhere, his arch-nemesis Jack gets into the holiday spirit with his family at the Abbott mansion. This doesn't mean the foes will put their differences aside for the holiday season. Their feud will resume come the day after. The Abbotts are concerned that Victor will continue his efforts to destroy their company and their family. Abbott Cosmetics has already been shut down. However, they could still risk losing it all. Victor needs to learn how to set aside his differences. However, he's not the type of man who gets into the holiday spirit. He would rather discuss business than talk turkey at the dinner table. On Christmas Day, Y&R airs a throwback episode from 2010. In the special, Victor receives a visit from the ghosts of Christmas past, present, and future. Everybody is aware that Christmas isn't Victor's favorite holiday. It stems from his traumatic childhood, in which his mother, Cora, had to leave her son, Christian Miller, at an orphanage. She was so poor that she could not afford to raise one of her sons. She kept Matt, who was the oldest. Christian waited for his mother to return to him, but it never happened. Christian wanted to move on from his traumatic past. He rebranded himself as Victor Newman, the self-made millionaire. Now, he wants to become a billionaire. Thanks to Cain's AI program, Victor needs to be reminded of what matters. Family is the heart of the matter, and not the kind that he thinks he can persuade to do whatever he pleases. Hopefully, Victor will learn this lesson again next year. Here's the full recap of what happened on The Young and the Restless on Friday, December 26, 2025. Sally encountered Adam at the GCAC, and he asked if she had a moment to speak with him. He hoped they could reach a point when things were no longer awkward between them. Sally wanted him to back off the Abbotts and accused Newman Media of targeting them cruelly. However, she did have time to talk about one topic. Sally accused Adam of parading around as a changed man, despite his actions demonstrating otherwise. Sally shot down any excuse Adam made about Newman Media's attack on Abbott. He asked why Abbott Communications didn't issue a defense of the company. She wanted her new business to appear unbiased, though. The conversation turned more personal, and she referenced how he cheated on her with Chelsea. Sally blasted him for ruining her big night, and she said all he cared about was doing Victor's bidding. Adam promised that he had no intentions of hurting Sally. However, Sally knew that it would crush Billy. She called him out for timing the article's publication at the most opportune time to hurt Billy. Sally didn't buy into Adam's changed man act, and she tried to walk away, but he stopped her. Adam promised that he had learned and grown from his mistakes. He tried to use Connor to get her to see things differently, but she told him not to use his son to avoid accountability. Adam vowed he couldn't understand what he'd done to make Sally believe he'd never change. She spelled it out for him. Sally said that Adam was intentionally destructive, and he didn't think of any of the innocent people caught in the crossfire of Jack and Victor's endless battle. Sally acknowledged her past mistakes, but she thought Adam was a better person when they were together. Once they split, she felt like he allowed Victor to morph him into a copy of himself. Adam feigned ignorance about knowing his father had the AI program in his possession. Sally knew that he was lying through his teeth, and his denial spoke volumes to her about his lack of change. She wondered why he'd be willing to hurt Jack just to destroy Billy. Adam defended his company's integrity, but Sally accused him of simply repeating the party line. She didn't think he believed a word he was saying, but he was firmly under Victor's control. Chelsea walked in during their tense exchange, right as Adam warned Sally to watch her back around Billy. He believed that Sally was waiting for the other shoe to drop until he let her down again. Chelsea agreed that the war between the Newmans and the Abbotts needed to end, which prompted Sally to ask her to weigh in on the publishing. Adam lied to Sally and accused her of being paranoid. Before Sally left, she warned Adam that her media company was just as capable as his in publishing damaging pieces about families. After she was gone, Chelsea told Adam she didn't want to be a part of anything anymore. The post-Christmas edition kicked off with Michael and Lauren at Crimson Lights, who were thanked by Esther for hosting her for the holiday. After a playful exchange with Esther about Gloria, Lauren asked Michael to keep filling her in on Victor and the AI program. He told her he hated the software and that he hated Victor having his hands on it. Lauren knew what the program meant for Jabot, and Michael admitted he gave Victor the heads up about Jabot's shutdown to avoid the attack. This backfired, giving Victor cause to write the Newman media hit piece. She asked whether Michael would still help Diane secure the program from Victor, and whether he thought peace was still possible. Michael asked Lauren's opinion before he made a move in either direction. He invited her into the decision process, attempting to honor his commitment to keeping her in the loop. Lauren was apprehensive about getting involved, but Michael told her that if she wanted to be involved in the conversation, she needed to be all in. Lauren knew the AI program posed a significant risk to the companies of their closest friends. She wanted the program destroyed before it took away everything anyone had. Despite the need to get rid of it, she was worried that Victor would retaliate if he knew Michael had any involvement in taking it away from him. Lauren told Michael, "You have to decide what's more of a threat. An invasive AI program set to decimate the companies of our nearest and dearest, or a double-crossed Victor Newman." Michael had thought for quite a while about the potential fallout, and although he considered it, he didn't know if he could pull it off. Lauren was nervous that Victor would have a terrifying reaction to Michael's involvement. That said, she believed Michael was better positioned than anyone else to get close enough to the software to retrieve it. Lauren ultimately agreed to support Michael in his quest against Victor, but she urged him to do so discreetly without being caught. Jack dropped by Billy's, and they laughed about the tiny Christmas tree in the younger brother's apartment. Newman Media's attack on Jabot has snowballed into a full-scale decimation of the company's public perception. Jack wanted to get things back on track and admitted that the IT program was doing its best to mitigate potential damage from an attack. Jack told Billy they needed help, and he reminded Jack that Phyllis was still an option. Jack wasn't opposed to singing over Marchetti to Summer, but he didn't want to resort to that option yet. Billy realized that Jack was counting on Nikki to come through for the family. However, he wasn't as confident as his older brother that Nikki was the best choice to rely on. Despite the bond between Jack and Nikki, Billy didn't think she'd ever turn on him. Jack recalled previous examples of Nikki taking on Victor, but Billy thought it would turn everyone's lives into a war zone if she took Jack's side. Jack agreed with Billy about the bond between Victor and Nikki, but he also believed that Nikki had grown a lot in recent years. She wanted to be an equal in her own marriage and was willing to put it on the line to help Jack and Jabot. Billy still didn't think Nikki would follow through with destroying her marriage to save the family company from the brink of collapse. Billy told Jack not to count on Nikki and Jack assured him they'd approach it from multiple fronts. Although they had Phyllis as a backup option, Jack wasn't sold on her as an ally. She could ask for more and more until she bled the company dry. However, there was also a slight possibility that she never handed the AI program to them at all. Sally returned home after her tense encounter with Adam at the GCAC, and she recognized Adam's behavior from their past together. However, it seemed Jack believed Adam could be a future ally. At the society, Kyle ran into Clare, and he asked if she had a nice Christmas with the Newman family. She showed him some photos of Victor and Nikki, and Kyle noticed underlying tension between them. Clare admitted something was off between her grandparents. Kyle wished Victor weren't so stubborn, because everything could be avoided if he backed down on the AI program. Clare took offense to Kyle's comments and cited her grandfather's love for her grandmother. She pointed out how Victor viewed Jack as the biggest obstacle to Nikki's safety. Victor refused to see things as they actually played out, but Clare couldn't view it that way. Kyle vowed to stop Victor by any means necessary, and she was caught off guard by the choice of words. Clare asked Kyle why he opened up about Victor attacking Jabot. Kyle admitted that Jack thought getting Clare on their side would be an added tool to their arsenal. However, he refused to put her in the middle unless she wanted to. Clare wasn't blind to what Victor was capable of. She still blamed herself for the fallout of everything that was happening in the present. Kyle tried to get Clare not to blame herself, but she couldn't stop herself from thinking about her part in it. She admitted she also viewed things from Victor's perspective. Clare told Kyle she'd remain neutral in the family feud. It was in her best interest to watch this war from the sidelines. He didn't want to pressure her to do anything that made her uncomfortable. Kyle asked Clare to change the subject, and she asked about his Christmas. His holiday was stressful and tense, and Clare hoped Harrison's was more cheerful. They discussed the Newman holiday gathering for all of the cousins, and how Kyle would avoid taking Harrison himself, so he wouldn't be forced to deal with Victor. Holden arrived, interrupting Kyle and Clare's conversation, and he made it clear that the two had plans that didn't involve Kyle. The mere sight of Holden completely altered Kyle's demeanor. He quickly stormed out of society, and Clare chased after him. Once she caught up to him, Kyle was tired of trying to make things right, so it was time to end the relationship. Kyle told Clare he hoped she found everything she searched for, but he couldn't do it anymore. After he ended things, the camera panned to Audra, who overheard the entire exchange. Audra went into society and approached Clare about the drama she saw between them. Clare warned her to back off because she wasn't in the mood. Audra asked Clare if she felt any guilt about playing Kyle and Holden against each other. However, this simply incensed Clare further, and she threw a glass of water in her enemy's face. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Monday, December 29th, reveal that Phyllis Summers will surprise Jack Abbott while Nick Newman tests Matt Clark, aka Mitch Bacall. Noah Newman will also deal with his worst fear. So let's talk about what's ahead on Y&R. For starters, it turns out Phyllis will have a gift to pass along. Phyllis will have a surprising present for Jack, so maybe it'll be something to give him a little more confidence in her. Jack's been struggling over the idea of trusting Phyllis to help the Abbotts fight back against Victor Newman. Working with Phyllis tends to lead to troubling news and tight spots. The fact that Phyllis only demanded Marchetti for Summer Newman and nothing for herself will remain suspicious as far as Jack's concerned. Jack will feel like there must be something else Phyllis wants. Plus, Jack will have concerns over whether Phyllis will actually hand over the AI program if she steals it back. Phyllis might flat out admit to Jack that she wants to use the program against Victor and take over Newman Enterprises. That's the pitch Phyllis recently made to Kane Ashby, so she might push Jack to get on board. It's even possible Phyllis's plan will be the gift that she offers Jack. Phyllis might play up how Victor's going to suffer and push Jack to accept that he deserves a good dose of revenge. Of course, Jack may have some reservations about that. The current goal is to stop Victor and restore peace to Genoa City, but Phyllis may argue that they have to take things a step further, or else Victor will always pose a threat. Over with Noah, he'll continue to fret over missing Sienna Bacall now that she's back under Matt's control. Noah knows what Matt is capable of by now, so he'll worry that she won't make it out of this alive. However, Nick will convince Matt to join him at the park, where they'll do some negotiating. Since Nick hinted about a deal over the phone, Matt will be willing to hear his proposition. That doesn't necessarily mean Matt will accept the terms, especially if he has a hunch Nick is trying to trick him. Nick's going to put Matt to the test during this confrontation, but Matt may insist he's the boss here and warn that he's not to be messed with. The Young and the Restless spoilers say Matt and Nick have quite a showdown brewing, so stick with us for updates on all the excitement. Young and the Restless spoilers for December 29th, Jan 2, 2025. Suggests Sally Spectra's got a big secret and Matt Clark is lashing out. As we always do on Early Edition Day, we start with what's coming this week, then dive into what's ahead next week. So, on Wednesday, December 24th, we've got Katie Newman, Victoria Newman, and Johnny Abbott dropping in on Billy Abbott and Sally at their house, and they've brought a little Charlie Brown Christmas tree. It's a little sad, it's a little cute. They've got no ornaments, no nothing. So Sally pops some popcorn and teaches Billy's kids how to string it. It was what Sally did back when it was a meager Christmas and slim pickings around the whole Christmas tree thing. Johnny asks about Abbott.com versus Newman Media, and what's the difference? And Billy says they have integrity, and they aren't attacking people with lies and speculation. But Johnny, being the kid that he is, has to remind his dad that he gambled away Jabot. Remember that terrible yacht name? Billy admits that it was a mistake, but also that he's learned from his mistakes, and he credits Sally with being good for him. Victoria and Sally discuss Billy's big changes when he steps out of the room with the kids, and they both hope that these are legit changes. They worry about his anger at Jill Abbott and also at Victor Newman. And Victoria fully credits Sally for this new chill that he has, and she does think Billy really cares about her. Sally admits to Victoria that Billy reminds her of her dad, who was also a gambler, who would lose big and then start boozing when he failed, and then he would up and evaporate. Sally said she picked her dad up time and again. So, Victoria wonders if Sally is doing the same thing with Billy, trying to save him. He overhears his ex talking, and Sally telling Victoria about her dad letting her down. There was this one Christmas when he promised her a sewing machine, and not only did she not get the sewing machine, her dad bailed completely on her at Christmas. She tells Victoria Billy has made her promises about Abbott.com, and they were on and off again with a lot of disappointments. And Sally tells Victoria she can't survive Billy letting her down again. And then Sally says she's sorry for dumping her trauma on Victoria. But she's glad that Sally shared it. The kids made a tinfoil star for the tree, and then they take off with Victoria. And Billy tells Sally how grateful he is to have her, and they get to smooching. Meanwhile, Victor is surprised to see Nikki Newman home at the new ranch. He thought she wouldn't be there. She reminds Victor it's Christmas Eve, and he reminds Nikki she said she was going to leave him, and she tells Victor she is still mad. But Christmas is about family, and that's why she's at home. Nikki's thinking back to their first Christmas in that house at the new ranch, and she said, you know, Claire Grace Newman was home finally, and Cole was still alive, and Victor wants a truce for the holidays, and Nikki agrees, but insists that what he's doing to Jack Abbott is wrong, and she's not going to change her mind on that. Victor's got a gift for her, and Nikki says a gift won't change her mind either, but it's pretty impressive. It's a ruby and diamond necklace that belonged to the mother of Marie Antoinette. Victor's happy she likes it, but Nikki says again she won't change her mind. Victor claims he just wants a nice Christmas. Nikki gives Victor a gift, a personal journal of some German philosopher I've never heard of. Nikki and Victor talk about their many Christmases over the years. We got a flashback to a Christmas past when a younger Nikki brought Victor a tiny tree and said it looked like Scrooge lives at his house. Victor tells Nikki that tree meant so much to him and talks about his mom leaving him at an orphanage at age 7 because she couldn't feed him after his dad left. And then Victor talks about being amazed at all the blessings he has now when he had nothing back then as a kid. They kiss and it's sweet for the moment, but I expect that warfare will resume in the new year. Diane Jenkins greets Jack with eggnog and a kiss at the mansion, and she jokes about Victor giving them a nightmare before Christmas. But she just wants to forget it all tonight. Everybody else is out of the house, and Jack wants to get naughty. And Diane talks about how much Jack has given her, how much she loves him, and says she has everything she wants. and that is Jack and another chance with her son Kyle Abbott. Love in her life, all that. They swap gifts. Diane got Jack a first edition of Max Factor's autobiography. He was the main man in movie makeup back in the day, if you don't know the name. Diane says that guy reminds her of John Abbott, and Jack got Diane a necklace that once belonged to Coco Chanel. So yeah, Jack and Victor both got Nikki and Diane historical jewelry, and they got the guys historical books, and there's kisses all around. Thursday, December 25th, it's Christmas Day, and we've got a rerun of Young and the Restless. We are going to relive Victor getting the Ebenezer Scrooge treatment with 3 visits from his past. This is an episode that originally aired December 23rd, 2010. On Friday, December 26th, we're back to New, and Michael Baldwin and Lauren Fenmore are discussing the pros and cons of helping the Abbotts. Lauren thinks getting the AI away from Victor is more important than him possibly being ticked off at Michael for going behind his back to help Jack and Diane. Adam Newman is stunned when Chelsea Lawson hits him with an ultimatum. She may want to walk away from Newman Media, or else she's absolutely ill at what Victor has made them do. I wonder if Adam's going to try and dissuade Chelsea. We know he has got some serious daddy issues, and he can't stop right now when he has Victor's approval. Billy and Jack get some vital intel from Sally. So, this week, she and Adam are chatting, and I think he might throw a lifeline to the Abbotts, using Sally as the middleman, because Adam knows he can trust Sally. The week of December 29th through January 2nd, we have a Young and the Restless rerun on New Year's. It's an episode from the vault, almost 30 years old. I honestly can't wait to see this. It's 1998, and Catherine Chancellor is throwing a big party, and Jill crashes it to make trouble. Also, when we're back into new episodes, Matt Clark is being totally psycho, and Sienna Bacall is petrified. Michael and Adam struggle with their guilt, and both want to help Jack without getting on Victor radar if possible. They're walking a tightrope, and of course, we know the mustache is going to find out. Clare will not relent on her takedown. Audra Charles' plot with Kyle and Burrow may get her some info. Sally and Billy are excited about AbbottCom, but worried about Victor, the AI, and what's happening at Jabot. Victor and Nikki had that Christmas truce, but their fight may be on like Donkey Kong again in the new year, unless something big changes. Daniel Romalotti is still watching his mother, Phyllis Summers, very closely. Daniel's got an eagle eye on her because he knows she put Jabot at risk by stealing Kane Ashby's AI and giving it to Victor. But Phyllis really hopes that getting Jack to give Marchetti to Summer Newman will get her kids to chill out on her. I do think that'll happen. I'm just not sure if Phyllis is going to do what she promised. Noah Newman's determined to sacrifice anything and everything to save Sienna, and his parents don't like it. Noah is making rash emotional choices that could put his life on the line again, and Phyllis is ready to go after the AI to steal it back. But I worry that Victor's tech team may have put up guardrails because he may have expected Phyllis to try this move. Sally makes a shocking admission about Billy on Christmas Eve. On The Young and the Restless, December 24th, Sally comes to terms with her feelings for Billy, who overhears her conversation. He's not happy with what she has to say. On Christmas Eve, Victoria visited Billy's with their kids, Johnny and Katie. While Billy is occupied with the kids and decorating, Victoria and Sally sit on the couch talking. Victoria admitted that she's worried about Billy. She feared that he was not new and improved, despite his claims to the contrary. Sally agreed and says she's been worried about him as well. She knew that he had been trying to work on himself. However, the hurt from Jill still cuts deep. Billy's hatred for Victor is bubbling to the surface. Sally wondered if Billy had ever felt peace in his life rather than anger for others. Sally admitted that their feelings for each other are real. Additionally, he swore to her that he had let go of his anger and was now only focused on the positive aspects, such as the success of Abbott Communications. But Sally has been triggered by her childhood trauma. Her father is similar to Billy in that he would gamble away his family's debts. Sally also recalled the times when he would numb himself with alcohol. Victoria asked Sally an important question. Was she trying to love Billy, or was she trying to save him from himself? Sally shared a story of when her father promised her a sewing machine, which never happened. Neither the gift nor her father was there on Christmas Day. Meanwhile, Billy listened to Sally's confession from the hallway with a stoic expression. Sally told Victoria that Billy had promised her an incredible future with Abbott Communications, but she feared it could all be gone tomorrow. Billy's expression was hard to read when he listened in on Sally and Victoria's conversation. After everyone had left, Billy told Sally that the kids had done an incredible job with the Christmas tree. He assured her that he believed in her and what they could accomplish together. Sally told Billy that she was grateful to have him in her life. She said, "Merry Christmas," before they kissed. Sally genuinely loves Billy. Unfortunately, her childhood trauma makes it difficult for her to navigate this rocky relationship.